The courtroom was silent as the attorney held up a Tesla promotional video from 2016, the same video that millions of potential customers had watched before making their purchasing decisions. In that video, Elon Musk confidently declared that Tesla's Autopilot system was so advanced that it could drive completely autonomously from a garage in Palo Alto to Tesla's headquarters without any human intervention. The footage showed a pristine Model S navigating traffic, making turns and parking itself while the driver's hands remained off the wheel. What the court would soon discover was that this entire demonstration was an elaborate deception that would fundamentally change how the world viewed Tesla's autonomous driving capabilities. The case that brought this revelation to light began with a tragic accident in 2018 when a Tesla Model X, operating on autopilot, crashed into a concrete barrier on Highway 101 in Mountain View, California. The driver, Wei Huang, was killed instantly when his vehicle accelerated into the barrier despite clear road conditions and no apparent reason for the collision. His family's wrongful death lawsuit against Tesla would eventually uncover a web of misleading claims, doctored demonstrations, and internal communications that painted a damning picture of how Elon Musk and Tesla had systematically misrepresented their autopilot technology to the public. The first bombshell revelation came during the discovery phase when Tesla was forced to turn over internal emails and engineering reports related to their autopilot system. What emerged was a stark contrast between the public statements made by Elon Musk and the private concerns expressed by Tesla's own engineers. Internal documents showed that Tesla's engineering team had repeatedly warned management about the limitations and potential dangers of the autopilot system, concerns that were consistently dismissed or downplayed in favor of aggressive marketing timelines and public relations goals. One particularly damaging email chain from 2017 showed Tesla engineers expressing serious doubts about the reliability of the autopilot system's object detection capabilities. The engineers had identified specific scenarios where the system would fail to recognize static objects, particularly in situations involving concrete barriers, construction equipment, and emergency vehicles. These were not minor technical glitches, but fundamental flaws in the system's design that could lead to fatal accidents. Despite these warnings, Elon Musk continued to make public statements claiming that Tesla vehicles on autopilot were statistically safer than human drivers. The court proceedings revealed that the 2016 demonstration video, which had been viewed millions of times and used extensively in Tesla's marketing materials, was not the seamless autonomous drive that it appeared to be. According to testimony from former Tesla employees, the video required multiple takes and careful choreography to achieve the desired result. The route had been pre-programmed into the vehicle's navigation system, and Tesla engineers had made numerous test runs to identify and address potential failure points. Most shocking of all, the final video that was released to the public had been edited to remove several instances where human intervention was required to prevent accidents or navigation errors. Ashok Eliswamy, Tesla's former director of autopilot software, testified under oath that the demonstration video was created specifically for marketing purposes and did not represent the actual capabilities of the autopilot system that was being sold to customers. He revealed that the car in the video had crashed during filming when attempting to navigate a turn, and that engineers had spent weeks debugging the software to make the demonstration work for the specific route shown. This testimony directly contradicted years of public statements by Elon Musk claiming that the video represented real-time, unedited footage of Tesla's autonomous driving capabilities. The legal team representing the Huang family presented evidence showing that Tesla's marketing materials consistently overstated the capabilities of the autopilot system while downplaying its limitations. Sales presentations, website content, and promotional videos all painted a picture of a nearly perfect autonomous driving system that was always improving through over-the-air updates. The reality, as revealed through internal Tesla communications, was far different. Engineers regularly documented cases where the system would make dangerous decisions, fail to respond to obvious hazards, or simply disengage without warning in critical situations. Perhaps most damaging to Tesla's case was the revelation that the company had access to detailed crash data from thousands of vehicles, but had failed to use this information to adequately warn customers about specific high-risk scenarios. The data showed clear patterns of autopilot failures in certain situations, yet Tesla continued to market the system as being safer than human drivers without providing context about these known limitations. This selective use of safety statistics became a central point of contention in the court proceedings. Elon Musk himself became a key figure in the litigation when his own statements and social media posts were used as evidence against Tesla. The court examined hundreds of tweets and public statements where Musk had made increasingly bold claims about Autopilot's capabilities. In 2014, he had promised that Autopilot would be able to drive from New York to Los Angeles without human intervention by 2017. When that deadline passed without the promised functionality, he simply moved the timeline forward and made even bolder claims about full self-driving capabilities being just months away. The pattern of overpromising and under-delivering became clear as the court reviewed years of Musk's predictions. In 2015, he claimed that Tesla cars would be fully autonomous within 2 years. In 2016, he said that Tesla would demonstrate a cross-country autonomous drive by the end of 2017. In 2017, he promised that customers would be able to summon their cars from coast to coast by 2018. None of these promises were fulfilled, yet Musk continued to make similarly aggressive predictions year after year, each time pushing back the timeline when the previous promises failed to materialize. Internal Tesla documents revealed that the company's own engineers had repeatedly told management that the timelines being promised by Musk were technically impossible given the current state of the technology. The gap between the marketing promises and engineering reality was so large that some employees had begun referring to it internally as the Elon time phenomenon, where promised delivery dates should be multiplied by a factor of 2 or 3 to get realistic expectations. The court also examined Tesla's handling of customer complaints and accident reports related to autopilot failures. Evidence showed that Tesla had received hundreds of reports from customers describing dangerous autopilot behavior, including sudden acceleration, failure to brake for obstacles, and phantom braking incidents that caused rear-end collisions. Rather than using this feedback to improve the system or warn other customers about potential risks, Tesla typically responded with generic statements about the importance of driver attention and continuous software improvements. One of the most revealing aspects of the trial was the testimony about Tesla's data collection practices. The company had been collecting detailed driving data from every Tesla vehicle since the introduction of Autopilot, creating one of the largest databases of real-world driving scenarios ever assembled. However, the court learned that this data was primarily used for marketing purposes rather than safety improvements. Tesla would highlight instances where Autopilot had prevented accidents while downplaying or ignoring data that showed system failures or near misses. The prosecution presented evidence that Tesla had deliberately structured its data collection and analysis to support predetermined marketing messages rather than provide objective safety assessments. For example, Tesla would compare autopilot accident rates to overall traffic accident rates without accounting for the fact that autopilot was primarily used on highways, which already have lower accident rates than city driving. This statistical manipulation allowed Tesla to claim that autopilot was safer than human drivers, even when the underlying data suggested otherwise. Expert witnesses called by the prosecution testified that Tesla's approach to autonomous vehicle development was fundamentally flawed from a safety perspective. Unlike traditional automotive manufacturers, who typically err on the side of caution when introducing new safety systems, Tesla had adopted a move fast and break things philosophy borrowed from Silicon Valley software companies. This approach might work for social media applications, but it had potentially deadly consequences when applied to systems that control 2-ton vehicles traveling at highway speeds. The trial revealed that Tesla had repeatedly released autopilot updates to the public without adequate testing or validation. Internal emails showed instances where engineers had identified potential safety issues with new software versions only to be overruled by management pressure to meet aggressive release schedules. In some cases, Tesla had pushed updates to customer vehicles knowing that certain functions were unreliable, with the plan to fix problems through subsequent updates after customers had already experienced failures. One particularly damaging piece of evidence was a series of internal presentations showing that Tesla management was aware that customer confusion about Autopilot's capabilities was contributing to accidents. Surveys conducted by Tesla showed that many customers believed Autopilot was more capable than it actually was, yet the company continued to use marketing language that reinforced these misconceptions. Terms like full self-driving and autopilot themselves were identified by Tesla's own researchers as contributing to dangerous overconfidence among users. The court examined Tesla's driver monitoring systems and found them to be inadequate for ensuring proper use of autopilot. While other automotive manufacturers had implemented robust systems to ensure driver attention when using semi-autonomous features, Tesla's approach relied primarily on detecting hands on the steering wheel through torque sensors. This system was easily defeated by placing a weight on the steering wheel or simply applying slight pressure, allowing drivers to fully disengage from the driving task, even though autopilot was not designed for truly autonomous operation. Internal communications revealed that Tesla engineers had proposed implementing more sophisticated driver monitoring systems, including eye-tracking cameras and more frequent attention alerts, but these suggestions were rejected due to cost concerns and fears that they would make the autopilot experience less appealing to customers. The decision to prioritize user experience over safety monitoring became a central theme in the prosecution's case. The trial also exposed Tesla's practice of using customer vehicles as unwitting test platforms for experimental autonomous driving software. Through Tesla's beta program, the company had distributed untested software to thousands of customers under the guise of providing early access to new features. However, the court learned that this beta software often contained experimental algorithms that had not undergone proper safety validation. Customers were essentially serving as unpaid test drivers for software that could potentially cause accidents. Evidence presented during the trial showed that Tesla had collected data from these beta tests and used it to improve their systems, but they had not adequately warned participants about the experimental nature of the software or the potential risks involved. Some beta participants reported experiencing dangerous system behaviors, including sudden braking, erratic steering, and failure to respond to traffic signals, yet Tesla continued to expand the beta program without addressing these fundamental safety concerns. The revelation that Elon Musk had personally been involved in directing the misleading marketing campaign became a crucial element of the case. Email evidence showed that Musk had personally reviewed and approved marketing materials that contained exaggerated claims about Autopilot's capabilities. He had also been directly involved in decisions to suppress internal safety concerns and push forward with aggressive public demonstrations despite engineer warnings about system limitations. Perhaps most damaging was evidence that Musk had continued to make public statements about autopilot safety even after being briefed on internal data showing concerning accident patterns. The court was shown presentations that had been given to Musk highlighting specific types of autopilot failures, followed by public statements where he dismissed safety concerns and claimed that Tesla vehicles on autopilot were becoming safer with every mile driven. The defense attempted to argue that Tesla's statements about autopilot were forward-looking predictions rather than claims about current capabilities, but the prosecution successfully demonstrated that the company's marketing materials consistently presented autopilot as a currently available technology rather than a future development goal. The 2016 demonstration video in particular was presented as showing existing capabilities rather than a vision of future functionality. As the trial progressed, additional evidence emerged showing that Tesla's misleading marketing had extended beyond just the initial autopilot demonstrations. The court examined Tesla's full self-driving package, which had been sold to customers for thousands of dollars with promises of imminent autonomous capabilities. Internal documents showed that Tesla engineers had repeatedly warned that the full self-driving name was misleading and that the actual functionality was years away from matching the implied capabilities. The prosecution presented evidence that Tesla had collected over $1 billion from customers for full self-driving features that had never been delivered as promised. Many customers had purchased this package based on Musk's repeated claims that the functionality would be available within months, only to wait years without receiving the promised capabilities. Some customers had purchased new vehicles specifically to get access to newer, full self-driving hardware, only to discover that even the updated hardware was insufficient for the promised functionality. The trial revealed a pattern of Tesla moving goal lines and changing definitions whenever their promised timelines failed to materialize. Features that had been promised as part of full self-driving were quietly removed from Tesla's website or redefined to lower expectations. Meanwhile, Musk continued to make bold predictions about autonomous capabilities, while the actual delivered functionality remained limited to basic highway driving assistance. Expert testimony during the trial explained how Tesla's approach to autonomous vehicle development differed fundamentally from other companies working on similar technology. While competitors like Waymo and Cruise had focused on limited geographic areas and specific use cases, Tesla had attempted to solve the entire autonomous driving problem simultaneously across all driving scenarios. This approach, while ambitious, had led to a system that was mediocre in all situations, rather than excellent in specific, well-defined use cases. The court learned that Tesla's neural network approach to autonomous driving, while innovative, had inherent limitations that made truly reliable autonomous operation extremely difficult to achieve. The system's decision-making process was essentially a black box that even Tesla's own engineers couldn't fully understand or predict. This lack of interpretability made it impossible to guarantee safe operation in all scenarios. Yet Tesla had marketed the system as if it were a deterministic, engineered solution rather than a probabilistic learning system. As the trial neared its conclusion, the full scope of Tesla's deception became clear. The company had not only misled customers about current capabilities, but it also created a false narrative about the trajectory of autonomous vehicle development. By claiming that full autonomy was always just months away, Tesla had created unrealistic expectations that influenced purchasing decisions and risk-taking behavior among their customers. The jury ultimately found Tesla liable for the wrongful death, concluding that the company's misleading marketing had contributed to the accident by creating false confidence in the Autopilot system's capabilities. The verdict sent shockwaves through the automotive industry and marked a turning point in how autonomous vehicle technologies would be regulated and marketed in the future. The implications of this court case extend far beyond Tesla and autonomous vehicles. It represents a broader reckoning with how technology companies market experimental or developmental products to consumers. The case established legal precedent that companies cannot hide behind terms like beta or experimental when marketing products to general consumers, especially when those products involve safety-critical applications. For Tesla and Elon Musk personally, the court case represents a fundamental challenge to their approach to innovation and marketing. The company's strategy of making bold promises to generate excitement and investment had finally met its match in a legal system that demanded evidence and accountability. The revelation that their most famous autonomous driving demonstration was essentially a marketing fabrication damaged Tesla's credibility in ways that may take years to repair. The case also highlighted the need for stronger regulatory oversight of autonomous vehicle development and marketing. The trial showed that self-regulation by technology companies was insufficient to protect public safety when billions of dollars in revenue and stock valuations were at stake. Regulators around the world began developing new frameworks for evaluating and approving autonomous vehicle systems with much stricter requirements for transparency and safety validation. For customers who had purchased Tesla vehicles based on Autopilot promises, the court case provided validation of their experiences and opened the door for additional legal action. Many Tesla owners had reported feeling deceived by the gap between marketing promises and actual functionality, and the court case provided legal precedent for holding the company accountable for these misrepresentations. The broader technology industry took note of the Tesla case as a warning about the legal risks of over-promising on complex technical developments. The case demonstrated that marketing claims about future capabilities could be held to the same legal standards as claims about current functionality, especially when those claims influenced purchasing decisions and safety-related behavior. As the dust settled from the trial, it became clear that this case would be remembered as a watershed moment in the development of autonomous vehicles and the marketing of emerging technologies. The revelation that Tesla's most famous Autopilot demonstration was a carefully orchestrated deception rather than a genuine display of technological capability, marked the end of an era of uncritical acceptance of bold technology promises and the beginning of a new era of skepticism and accountability.